This here is Dottie, and Dottie likes to eat and steal stuff, and she had a bad experience where she ate some of her bedding. Oh, let's not do that. And she's a big barker, so you're probably going to hear a lot of barking in this. But basically, some of it caused an obstruction. She had to have surgery to have the obstruction removed. Now her guardian's very nervous about her taking stuff. She likes to kill bunnies, baby bunnies, and stuff like that. So in this video, we're going to go over ways to teach your dog to drop. And I'm also going to offer you some tips if your dog is a resource guarder. I don't know if it's resource guarding or if it's just she doesn't know how to drop. So do this. So I'll give you that one for sit first. I'm going to put the treat away so she knows I don't have any more. So I want to find something that the dog wants to have that is not a super high value item. A piece of underwear, your shoe, a water bottle, something the dog's not allowed to have is what we call a high value item. If the dog has it and then you get up and chase the dog, well, that's validating to the dog, and the dog, it's a good way to get your attention. So what I'm trying to do is just bounce this. I want her to get interested in it so that she can have the item. When you teach your dog to drop, you want to practice what we call a low value item. If I'm allowed to have these things at any point, it's not particularly valuable to me. But if I can't get that underwear, shoe, whatever it is, once I have it, that instantly gives me more status and helps. So when you want to practice this, you want to practice what we call a low value item. So she has that. Let's see if she'll pick it up. Dottie, Dottie. Roll it over here if you could with your foot. There we go. Drop. Now you couldn't see that very well, but what I do is when the dog has an object in its mouth, not holding it, in its mouth exclusively, I hold up a treat. Let's see if she'll take that again. Drop. I wait, I just hold it there and wait for the dog to do the behavior itself. I don't try to, anytime you try to pull, that's going to be a high value item, make the dog want to do it more often. So what we want to do is shape this behavior and help the dog practice with an item that they are happy to drop because it's not a high value item. Once we practice enough with low value items, then when it has the high value item, you can actually say drop and the dog will spit it out. I had one client that had a boxer and it liked to counter surf, and it got up on the counter when they were actually cooking, chopping some stuff up, and got the long butcher knife in its mouth and then chased its guardian around the house. Luckily, they taught it to drop, and after they stopped panicking, they realized, and they said, drop, the dog just spit it right out. So you have to start with the lowest value item possible and work your way up to it. Dogs are attracted to movement. And so she's nudging it, but she didn't pick it up. So I'm only doing this if she picks it up. Drop. So never, and when you drop it, when the dog drops it, if I go like this, that implies that I don't think I can have it, because I have to grab it before you can steal it. So as a human, here you go, get it, Dottie, get it. Yes, get it, all right. Drop. After you've done this enough, she'll just drop it right away. So for starting off with the low value items, and then eventually when she does have the high value item, you tell her, wait for her to drop, she drops it, and by that time, this time she's practicing. So you hold it, she drops it, and when I pick it up just like this. Very casual. If I snatch, then that tells the dog I'm going to try to defend it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get her to be quiet at this point so I can explain resource guarding. Drop. Dottie. So for resource guarding is very natural for dogs. I don't know if it's a resource guarding issue. I think she's just a rescue dog and a little bit confused. Sit. But for resource guarding, a dog will, a very well-trained dog can be a resource guarder. She is not particularly well-trained, but a well-trained or well-behaved dog, it has no indication. Resource guarding can happen to any dogs, and it's not considered an aggressive behavior, even though it looks very aggressive. And if you try to take something away from a dog when it's doing some resource guarding, it will bite anybody. But as soon as you remove the object, sit. The demeanor changes. That's why we don't classify it as aggression. So for basically in the wild, dogs normally do protect their resources. It's important, it's natural for them to do it. But we don't need them to do it now. There's nobody else trying to steal your bone or your antler or the food or whatever it is. I'm not going to take the food. Drop. And then she gets the item again. So make it literally nice. Every time I get my car, some guy shows up and says, can I open your door for you? And I'll give you $50. And he opens my door, and I get in, he gives me $50, and I drive off. Like, that's a deal. So what you're telling the dog is every time you drop something, if you drop it, you get something amazing, and you get your original stuff back. So that's a win-win for the dog. Sit. Okay, so for resource guarding, dog basically, there's a certain amount of distance that when you get too close to that dog, it's going to start growling at first. And usually resource guarding is kind of a downward nose orientation, standing over the object, more of a, and it looks really nasty. So if that's the case, that's probably resource guarding. If we go over and steal the item, we're going to make it much worse. So what I do instead is we want to teach the dog that when a human approaches you, they're not going to take your food or your bone or your kennel or whatever it is. Matter of fact, they're going to make your situation better. They're going to throw you a dog version of a $50 bill. So if the dog, let's say the dog is right here, sit. Let's say the dog is where this post is, and it's got something that's guarding. What I would do is, as a human, I want to practice approaching from different angles and different distances. Now, as I'm walking towards the dog, when the dog starts to, as a resource guarder, when it starts getting to the point where it's going to be reactive, it's going to start, kind of lower itself over it. So you take note of whatever distance it is before the dog freezes or gives you a little bit of one of the kind of little Zeke movement, crash. And you stop at that point. And then basically what you do is you pull out a high value treat like what I have, you toss it towards the dog on the floor, and then you walk away. So this time I come from this angle, and then I walk away. And then I come from that angle, and I walk away. Then I come from the hallway, and walk away. So each time I do this, I stop before the dog feels threatened, I offer a treat, and then I walk away. After a while, the dog's like, when David approaches, he's not here to take my stuff. When he approaches, the best treats I've ever had fall from the sky. He makes it rain in here, doggy treats. Sit. And so eventually you'll be able to get one step closer, another step closer, but don't push. If you take too many steps and the dog reacts, back up a step or two and practice it a little bit more. And eventually you get to the point where you'll be able to go all the way to where that dog is and it's not guarding it. Like I said, I don't know if this is resource guarding. I don't think it is, but it's possible. Sit. So I just wanted to go over it. So if you do have a dog that resource guards, I'm doing a very abridged version of the technique that is outlined in the book Mine, M-I-N-E with an exclamation point. If you have a dog that resource guards, this is the technique I use. What it does is teaches the dog, when, like I said, when a human approaches, they're not here to take your stuff, they're going to make it better. All right, but in her case, Dottie, see if we can get one more drop. Yep, got to get it first, Dottie. Dogs don't like just being given things. They like to have to take. Well, Dottie's not going to cooperate, so we'll just get her to be quiet so we can say, these are some tips and tricks you can use to stop your dog from resource guarding and to teach them to drop.